So we've looked a lot into America's history when it comes to expansion and battles on our own land, but as time had passed, issues that would later affect the United States that were happening around the world had started to occur. Let's take a trip over to Europe. For the beginning of this lesson, I want you to focus on these countries: Serbia, Austria, and Germany. We'll get to the other ones later on in this unit. It's important to note that during this time, Austria and Serbia were not fans of each other. A lot of states that were within Austria wanted to join Serbia, and Austria had recently gained land, which angered Serbia, and this causes a lot of bad blood between the two countries. It's also important to note the term nationalism. Nationalism is this excessive support of one's country. Basically, it's the feeling that your country is superior to all other countries. The rise of nationalism was spreading across Europe, so everyone felt entitled to rule themselves and not allow others to walk all over them. Okay, back to my story. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, a man who was next in line to control the Austro-Hungary Empire, went on an official visit to Bosnia, which had recently been taken over by Austria, but actually had a lot of Serbians living there. So remember, that sense of nationalism was growing, so the Serbians that were there didn't feel like being controlled by Austria at all. So now that someone was in line to rule Austria, which included Bosnia, was coming to a place that wasn't really a fan of him, things get a little interesting. Prior to his visit, the route his car was taking around the city was actually posted in newspapers. I know this sounds insane, but back then, this was a type of parade, and it was a big deal for the Archduke to be there. And like parades nowadays, the posting of his car route didn't seem like a big deal. As the Archduke is being driven through the city, someone throws a bomb at his car. They ended up missing and blowing up a police car instead. After the Archduke escaped, instead of going into hiding, he decided to make a visit to the injured police officers that were involved in the bombing. If you thought things were crazy already, it gets even better. On the way to the hospital, the driver of the Archduke's car accidentally takes a wrong turn. It turns out there was actually a group of people that had been planning to assassinate the Archduke, and when the Archduke's car gets stuck on that wrong turn, they end up right next to one of the other men wanting to assassinate him. This man ends up shooting and killing the Archduke. So, do you remember how Austria and Serbia didn't like each other? Well, a group of Serbians were supposedly the group that carried out the assassination, so this made the beef between the two countries even greater. Austria and Germany were allies, meaning they were on the same team. So Austria called them up, and this is where things get pretty bad.